What am I trying to say? I never know what I'm trying to say. Oh, hi. This is not working. Shuffling down. Why is my hip dodge? Hey guys, it's Holly and welcome back to the StudyTube project channel. Today I thought that I would come at you with something a bit different again. So I've talked to you guys a bit about food, given you some recipes. I've also talked about biology, but I thought, why not talk about yoga? Because I love it and I think it is a practice that anyone and everyone can do. And so I just thought I would talk you through and also show you 10 different yoga poses. If you're a beginner, that's totally fine. These poses are for everyone. I'm just gonna say that I'm not a yoga instructor. I'm not qualified in any way, but I just do yoga because I personally love it myself. I have grown up dancing, so I quickly learned quite a few of the different yoga poses. However, I don't know a lot about the history of yoga and I'm not that great with their names, but I'm gonna do my best today. I do know that, just as a little bit of a background, yoga, it comes from the Sanskrit word yuj, and that means to like join or unite. And there are basically 8 limbs of yoga. Most people will practice like the postures, and those are called the asana. I don't know how you say that again, but those are the postures which we're going to be doing today. But there is also something, for example, called the pranayama, and that's like breathing exercises. But yeah, without further ado, I just think we're going to get into these 10 yoga poses and we can get started doing some yoga together. So whenever I do yoga, honestly, I always start with cat-cow. So these are 2 separate poses, but I always do them together in sequence. So you want to bring yourself into a neutral tabletop position. So you want to have your wrists, elbows and shoulders all in line, perpendicular to the floor, and then your knees and your hips also in line. I have to think really carefully about what I'm trying to describe here. And then when you're going to go into the cat position, you want to exhale and arch your back like an angry cat, basically. Don't force your chin inwards, but just let it drop naturally. And as I said, you want to exhale, because then when you reverse this and you go into cow, you're going to inhale. So I remember this by you're trying to like sniff the air. So you want to do a nice inhale like, and then you look up and you sink your stomach then down to the floor and you reverse the arch. So I always, as I said, I start my yoga sequences with doing cat-cow, exhaling and inhaling as I've told you. So you want to inhale when you do cow and then exhale on the cat. Also a variation that I love, I don't know if this has a name, but I just like to add a bit of a rotation. I don't know how to describe it, but you can just see the way my body is moving and just flowing and just really getting into it. Just add some movement, do whatever really feels good for you. I also, if I am doing that variation, I'll do it both ways, so anti-clockwise and then clockwise. Okay, number 2 is child's pose. So you can come to a neutral tabletop, and from there you're just going to separate your knees so they're not completely parallel, and then you want to sink your like torso down to the floor with your arms extended outwards, and then you can just put your head on the mat and then you just breathe and rest in this position. All of these poses, by the way, do have other names. I'm just telling you the ones that I know them by. So this one is downwards dog. I think most people have heard of downwards dog in yoga. You can again start in that neutral tabletop, so this can be your like position that you come back to. If you're a beginner anyway, it can really help. And then what you're going to do is you're going to tuck your toes under, and then you want to lift your pelvis up towards the ceiling. So you're making this kind of triangle shape. You can see what I'm doing, but basically whenever I first go into downwards dog, I will always walk out my feet, and you can also keep your knees slightly bent so you don't like overstretch. If you start doing yoga in the morning, you might be a bit stiff, so it's always good to just walk out your feet and keep your knees bent. However, as you repeat it throughout your sequence, you will be able to go deeper into the pose. And whenever you're doing yoga and you've got your hands on your mat, make sure that you spread your fingertips and your palms so your weight is evenly spread and you've not got too much pressure on your wrists. And then when you are in downwards dog, when you inhale, you're just going to lengthen, and then when you exhale, you can sink further into the pose. Your heels might move closer to the floor, but honestly, don't force anything. That's so important with yoga. And don't do anything if it hurts at all. I should obviously say. Eventually you will feel comfortable in downwards dog the more you do it. I won't do everything correctly in all of these poses as well. Sometimes I get things a bit wrong, but with your gaze in downwards dog, you want to be looking at your kind of feet. You don't want to be looking up and breaking that line. Okay, the next one is called extended puppy pose. I love this one, okay? I don't know which is my favorite pose in yoga or posture, but this one, I'm gonna give you maybe a bit of TMI, but oh well, it's useful information here. This one is so good if you feel a bit bloated or you feel a bit gassy or you need to let out some wind. Honestly, extended puppy pose will be your savior, because what you're gonna do is kind of like a variation on downwards dog and child's pose, I believe. Come back to your neutral tabletop, extend your arms outwards as if you're going to go into child's pose. Then you're gonna lay your chest towards the mat and you're gonna feel that stretch through your shoulders and through your arms, and just again have your head on the mat. You're opening up the chest and you're just gonna breathe there. As with any pose, hold it for as long as you feel comfortable and feel necessary. What is going on? I feel like there's somebody outside my window on the scaffolding. But anyways, that's yeah, extended puppy pose. Also with extended puppy pose, if you have a dog, dogs will often do this, so you can take inspiration from your dog. They do puppy pose very well. Okay, so this is number 6, I believe. This posture is high lunge and it's the crescent variation because we're gonna lift our arms off the floor. So you're going to go into a lunge. Make sure that you have your front knee over your front toe. You're then gonna sweep your arms and lift them up, and with this lunge, it doesn't matter how far down you are in the lunge, it will depend on flexibility, but just do what you can. Obviously you do this on both legs. Stuff that requires a bit more flexibility, do it later in your practice, so you've warmed up a bit. Don't go into this cold. Okay, the next one is an extended side angle. I'd refer to it as like a sideways lunge in dance. You can essentially start with your legs apart and then you're just going to bend over one leg. Again, make sure your knee is over your toe. In this one, I don't think my feet are quite right. However, I will leave some links below for you guys to check out if you want to see the specific details of these postures. You're then going to lean over the leg that is bent, as I'm kind of doing, and then you can keep your bottom arm on the floor, but I personally prefer to have it off the floor. I just like to test my strength here and my balance, and I personally feel sturdier like this. It's a bit strange. So you can keep it here. Again, you don't have to lunge all the way down, just do what you can, and there is a bit of a variation on this. This is quite advanced, but you can add a bind to this. So if you just watch my arms and kind of follow what they do, you can add a bind in this position. It helps you relax more, and yeah, a bind is basically where you hold 2 different body parts and they're kind of intertwined. Number 8 is a yoga squat, yogi squat. It's also called the garland pose and it has probably another name, but yeah, it's essentially a squat in yoga. So you're just going to squat down, bring your bottom all the way to the floor, then you're just going to bring your palms together and let your elbows push back against your knees or thighs, sort of thing. So you have these opposing forces, and then you want to lift upwards and open your chest, hold it here, and this one is really nice again for opening up your hips, opening up your chest. And again, just remember to breathe throughout yoga, don't hold your breath, and just really try and enjoy the posture, I suppose. We're trying to release stress here, we're not trying to bottle it up. With this one, just make sure your heels are also fully on the floor so you're nice and sturdy. Okay, the next one is happy baby pose, and I struggled to find a decent, shall we say, angle to film this from. But essentially you're just gonna lie on your back and then you're just going to grab your feet. I think you should be grabbing the outside of your feet. I was doing this wrong again. I think I was grabbing over the top of my feet, over my toes. But you want to hold the outsides of your feet and bring your thighs towards your chest. It's called happy baby pose because happy babies do this, I suppose. But yeah, it feels really nice again. Like with most of these poses, I really enjoy doing them and I will do them in most of my yoga flows. Just be a happy baby for a few minutes. Okay, and number 10, the final pose I'm going to show you is Savasana. So a lot of people will know Savasana. It's also called the corpse pose. You do it normally at the end of your sequence. Most people just think you're lying there doing nothing, but it's actually really hard. Obviously you're going to lay on your back and you want to get nice and comfortable, but then you're going to close your eyes, and then the way I was taught Savasana is to try and think about every body part individually and focus on trying to get it to relax. So you start from like the bottom of your body and work upwards. So talk about your feet, you want to relax your toes, and then you want to relax your ankles, and then move up, you know, relax your shins, your knees, your thighs, your hips, and move up throughout your body. Do it really, really slowly. Just talk through it in your head and try and relax every single body part. And that is why Savasana is really hard, because you don't want to be distracted by anything. You just want to really let go and try and reach what's called moksha, so a state of kind of like freedom. There's thunder, everybody, and we're talking about yoga. This just doesn't sit quite right. But anyway, that is the end of this video, my 10 poses. It's really dark right now because there is a thunderstorm brewing. I'm genuinely so scared of thunder. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video as usual. If you're a complete beginner, I hope this was easy to follow, and if you want more yoga videos, more yoga poses, then just let me know. Like this video, leave it in the comments down below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the StudyTube project. There are videos every day on the StudyTube project, so yeah, I hope you enjoy them. I will leave a link in the description to my channel if you want to come over and follow me. That's Holly Gabrielle. But yeah, have an amazing rest of your week wherever you are, and I will speak to you very soon. Bye.